Hello and welcome to episode 11 of Fresh 60 Fresh Server, where I take you from 0 gold to hopefully your first million. We've been doing pretty well. We pretty much just have our normal routine today, and I think we can just go ahead and get started. So obviously first, I'm going to hit up my command table. That's getting going. Looks like it's up to 10 in terms of like its level, and really you start getting like the pretty good gold at like 16. If you're at least 16, you're doing pretty well. Anything above that's kind of just gravy. For instance, most of mine on my main server are at the point where basically every gold quest is getting like 330 to like 380 gold, things of that nature. You get a little bit more materials and stuff like that if you send out, so it's not a big deal regardless, but we are starting to level it up a little bit, which means we're going to start netting a little bit more gold, have a little bit better overall missions. With that, let's go ahead and go right to our mailbox. I will say that I had one of the most insane cancel scan wars yesterday, almost 2 hours straight, and I could not win against this guy. And while doing so, I ended up accidentally taking some gold out of my mailbox, so it's going to be lower than it should be. I took about 30,000 out, so you can already see right here, let's grab all the expireds, that there's 40,000 gold in here. So really, there was supposed to be about 70,000 in there from yesterday. Not too bad. One of the big things is we had, I think one of the treads sold for 25,000 plus some other stuff. I accidentally pulled that money out. So we actually had 3 legendaries yesterday. So in our first 3 days of selling legendaries, we've had actually 4 days, right? So we had 1, 3, 5, and now 3 again. So we're doing a pretty good job at selling these legendaries. This one's only about 6k profit. This one's closer to 10, 11k profit. So overall, pretty good. Let's go. Oh, and then as you see, Desolate Gear, it is selling. It just took forever, and the prices are relatively low on this server. I do notice that even on my main server that the prices have come down to about this range too, where it's starting to not become as good to craft them at all. I mentioned yesterday, I do feel like that's going to change come pre-patch. Just keep that in mind. This Desolate and stuff like that, the 50 gear is dying down now, but I do think in pre-patch, people are going to re-roll, after everybody makes their dragon, after everybody makes their drag there. Other people are going to re-roll into whatever's OP, whatever's, flavor of the month, whatever you want to call it. You have that happen every single expansion. Like, it's gonna happen. People are gonna re-roll disc, people are gonna re-roll, MM or whatever's OP, which means people are gonna level again, and believe it or not, you will have the ability to sell this kind of stuff again. Let's grab that gold. Our new total, remember our bank alt has a bunch of that thread on the auction house, so we actually have more than this for sure. But we're just about 150,000 now, so that's not too bad. We're making some progress, nothing insane. Not too bad for one character in like 10 days, so I'll take it. And that's definitely going to go up today. Taking a look at our callings, because that's usually the next thing I would do. So we didn't get lucky, we didn't get a 3rd in Bastion, but we do have 2 in Bastion to do today. So, there's at least that. Adds to our efficiency just a tad bit. I think one of the quests is outside, and I forgot to get it. Oh, that's the Maljaxis one. Alright, well, I'm just going to grab these real quick, and then it's time to go post and recraft. Our cancel scan is done. I'm just going to go ahead and repost these items, and from here we'll see what, if anything, we need to craft today. Shouldn't be a whole lot. Couple things. I'm really seeing prices start to drop on virtually everything. I think we're getting close, as I talked about yesterday, to another panic sale. Specifically, if you look at some of the prices of, let's see, what's a good example? Nightshade, holy crap. Yes, Nightshade. I mean, look at the price of where Nightshade's at right now. like a couple days ago, it was sitting at like 240, and I thought that was insane. And now look, now it's approaching, high 1, stuff like that. So just about everything I feel is really starting to drop in price. And I think you're even seeing that in legendaries and other things like that, depending on what server you're on. And I think I myself am getting to a point where I'm getting a bit scared to get too deep into crafting or anything. I don't know about you guys, but I'm starting to feel that it may be more worthwhile to pull back and find other ways of making gold between here and like pre-patch. I mean, pre-patch is a big one because I'm hoping that we have some gold making opportunities in pre-patch. We don't know yet. We don't know much of anything about it. I'm assuming there's catch-up gear, and I'm assuming that's earned some other way, but there also probably will be some way to make gold, right? So I'm definitely keeping an eye on that. So is there any farms you guys are interested in right now, or like to do, or that are having, luck with? I'm having a hard time finding anything over, like, at most 10, 11k per hour. Most everything's sitting a little bit under that. Most things just don't feel worth it. And that's kind of the issue I'm having in general right now, is crafting definitely doesn't feel like it's worth it right now for the most part. Yeah, you can make a little bit of gold, but like it's absolutely pennies compared to what you were able to do, whether that's the legendary market or otherwise. And on this server, legendaries are doing well. I do think that's worth my time. But beyond that, like, I can't even think of a farm that's really worth the time. Primal Fires, a few other things that are like still decent gold per hour as long as you can get them to sell at that rate. That, if it doesn't take too long to sell, or if people don't crash the market randomly, because that happens on things randomly. But for the most part, there's not many things that are that good, and I'm having a hard time finding things that are worth the time. So for out here, it's the powerful, defeat the powerful foes, and it's complete 3. So I'm gonna do this because it's quick and easy, and then I will go do this one for gold, and then I will come up here and do the powerful foes, and that one let us an extra 1,000 gold, and it'll get all 3 quests done. So this shouldn't take me very long. I'm probably just going to talk for a moment as I start the process, but yeah, anyway, any farms that you guys are, oh man, you got to try this farm. This farm's really good. I don't have any. I've tried a couple. I've thought about doing a couple, and what ends up happening, and this could be a little bit of laziness, but specifically on this server, I get the thought of, why should I go out and farm for like 8 to 10k an hour when I can sit on the auction house and cancel scan and try to sell a legendary that, nets me 10k profit. On top of, I can not waste time and I can vendor shuffle for usually 6.5k an hour at the exact same time. Which, if I don't sell a legendary, is obviously worse. But if I sell like just 1 or 2 throughout the day, like, it's gonna end up being more gold. Like, that's kind of where my issue's at. It's so many things just don't feel like they're respecting your time right now. And a lot of that has to do purely with the fact that we're at the end of an expansion, right? Like, that's not everything to do with the changes of, 9.2.7 or whatever. As it's not all to do with that. A lot of it is everybody and their mother understands that this expansion's ending, and, things are changing. It's not just the commodities problem. But specifically because of the commodities changes, as well as the fact that you just don't have the ability to sell like anything. Like, God forbid if your main profession right now is like enchanting or alchemy or something like that. Like, you are just without, like, you're screwed, There is, like, for instance, like, you can make maybe, I can make a little bit of money with alchemy. Yeah, but when you're making like 4 gold for a pot or something like that, you can go out and do the same thing just farming and get more herbs that way, right? Like, it ends up being like, why even craft the pot? Unless you just want to stand in town, then technically maybe. But for the most part, you get to this point where you might as well just farm and sell the material rather than spend time crafting. Like, the drop in prices for enchanting mats, like, why ever even if it's briefly worthwhile, why do an enchant and sit there and do that when you could just sell off the mats at that point? It's not much difference. I'll take the very slight hit just for something to be fast rather than, you know, spend all that time for trying to eke out, you know, what is going to end up being maybe 1,000 or something extra gold. You know, I don't know. That's just kind of where I'm at. Long story short, gold farming right now is a bit depressing, and yeah, I think if you're one of the kind of people that are thinking about taking a break, I think we're hitting that point where it might become a really good time here shortly just to take a break. I'm probably not, because I make more than enough gold just from like I don't even have to do callings. I could literally just do all of my tables and make more than enough gold for a token. Like, it's insane how good those tables are. So, like, I probably won't, because no matter what, my gold's going positive, like always. But yeah, gold making, there's not a lot to do right now. I think I'm moving to the point of focusing primarily on callings, tables, and then, like on this server, legendaries if they're doing well. And then if I really feel like sitting here and doing that, then doing some shuffles, because again, whether it's the JC shuffle or if it's the shuffle for treads, there's a couple that are really pretty good right now. So I think I'd rather sit around and do that than farm, I guess. For instance, if I decided I wanted to farm, I don't know, warbear leather, like, you actually have to fly and go fast and try, you know what I mean? Or if you're gonna go out here and do a farm out here for stuff, like, you actually kind of have to pay attention. While something like a vendor shovel for less gold per hour, but not that much less, to be honest, you don't have to pay attention at all. You push, you know, craft all, you semi-AFK, watch your other screen, and then when your bag's full, you sell to a vendor and you push craft all again. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm being a bit cynical or a bit lazy, but that's just kind of how I'm feeling about the gold making situation right now. I do see some potential in gathering some old world stuff. That potentially could be good. But beyond stuff like warbear leather, primal fires, other things that I've mentioned before, I don't know what's all really worth it right now. So I'd be interested to know if you guys have any ideas of what something that you found that's worthwhile, or if you're finding like, oh no man, I'm consistently getting 15k an hour doing this or that. You know, I'd be interested in what people are doing, because I'm having a hard time finding stuff that's better, more worth my time than just cancel scanning and vendor shuffling overall. At least on this server, right? I mean, 10k plus profit makes, you know, obviously legendary is pretty good here. So that's the other thing, is not just is the vendor shuffle slightly extra money, but I can also cancel scan consistently at the same time. But anyway, I'm going to finish this. Alright, I made it back to Ardenweald, got the stuff down in Bastion. I'm just going to turn these in real quick, and then I'm probably going to head back to the auction house. Alright, back at the auction house, just going to go ahead and do a cancel scan. If it'll load. Anyway, sorry about the rambling today. It's just kind of, I have a lot of gold making things on my mind actually, and I'm trying to consider what this character is going to be doing in the future, and also, more importantly to me at least, what my main server is going to be doing specifically in the near future. Because it's pretty obvious that tides are starting to change a little bit as we're creeping closer and closer to Dragonflight, or more specifically, creeping closer to the pre-patch, where I'm hoping we will have some gold making opportunities. But right now, I'm sure you guys are all aware. Nobody's really making big like content on what to be doing to make gold right now, and there's a reason for that, because there's not a lot of option, and it's just kind of the way it is. You know, there's no, I don't think any of the gold content creators have some magic thing on how to make good gold right now. There's not a ton of option. Like, there is things like I said, like primal fires or warbear leather. Like, you can go out and farm something random. There might even be a couple really good ones. Thin jelly, if that's selling well right now, could very well be good. I'm actually interested in what that's at. 26, so it's actually even that's low, right? That averages out to about 10k an hour. Yeah, like there's not a lot of things that are really, really good unless you're doing something that, like, you can do a farm where you're getting a thing and then you're using all the extra resources towards something else. Like, unless you can really kind of recycle all the things that you're doing, not a lot of insane things. There's a pretty good, at least I've heard, okay, I don't know if any of you tried this. I've thought about trying it maybe on this character to show you guys. I've heard of a dungeon that you could actually farm and net around 9k an hour. But even that, like, that's 9k an hour. That's really good for a raw gold farm, sure, but it's not exactly amazing. Maybe if you want to do that. But that brings me back to what I was saying before. Why do a 9k gold hour farm when I can do 7k an hour shuffle instead of the auction house and cancel scan? So, I mean, it depends on if you just need a change or you want something different to do. But anyway, I'm getting off track yet again. So tomorrow's video is going to be not a Fresh 60 Fresh server video, mostly because I go back to work. You know, I start back on the grind on Tuesday, so I'm definitely going to have a lot less time, and we'll talk about that at a later date. But mostly because I haven't done anything about my main server in a while, and I wanted to make a video about all the things I'm working on, because as much as this video has been a little bit of humdrum about what to do and woe is me, there's not a lot of great gold making opportunity out there right now, that does not mean there's not things to work on. And I don't want to spoil anything, but I'll go into that kind of stuff tomorrow specifically, because there's absolutely things that I want to get done prior to Shadowlands, or even if there's just random things that I myself am like, I don't care, I want that, I'm gonna get it before Shadowlands. All of that kind of stuff I kind of wanted to talk about, because I do have a good handful of things that I want to do or that I'm working on that are all things designed to make gold in the future. I mean, that's what I'm doing, right? Like, so long story short, I think I'm going to be taking more of the time that I use towards making gold. I think is a little bit wasteful right now because the gold just isn't there. So instead of taking that time and putting it towards specifically making gold this second, I'm going to take that time and put it towards making gold for the future, is kind of the best way I can say it. Because there is things that I don't have that I could be making gold on forever, that if I just spent some time to get those things, you know, ta-da, right? I could be making gold all throughout the next expansion with them. You know, for instance, something like one of the comments in the comment section, we were just kind of talking about it, was like the warbear leather, being able to make like the warbear woolies and things of that nature. I should not be lazy, and I should go out, farm the rep, so I can make those transmog items, right? Because you guys probably know I am not a believer in transmog. I think transmog is garbage for the most part. I will also counter that with saying I have definitely had success, or the most success in the past, with crafted transmog, and I do think there's a difference. Crafted transmog always tends to sell a lot better, and I can think of a few crafted transmog pieces that aren't terribly difficult to get that I'd like to get. That's just one thing of many that I would like to work on, but I'm going to go over all of those things tomorrow in the hopes that maybe I'll give you guys some ideas of little things that if you don't have them, maybe get motivated to be like, you know what? You know, he's right, I should probably take the time to farm out X or Y so that I can use this to make gold later. Because, for instance, right now, I don't have great ways of making gold. If I would have had this kind of crap farmed out forever ago, I would still have these. Like, here's one right here. If I had the ability to make this stupid mount, this stupid rocket that you see that guy on, like, mounts are good right now. There are things that are good, but I don't have any of them. So I now need to go out and get the ability to make some of these things, so that, especially when something like this happens again, I still have good income potential. And that's kind of where my issue's at, is I've lost the majority of my income potential. So yeah, that's just a kind of a sneak peek into what I'm thinking about. But we'll go over that tomorrow. I'll talk about all the things that I'm either just trying to get real quick before the end of the end of the expansion, or different items that I'm trying to learn how to make, or whatever the case may be, just so you kind of have an idea of where my mindset is on making gold for the future. But with that, honestly, this character does not have a whole lot of things that it can farm or do right now, or even make. I just like yesterday, I think this character's best option is to sit at the auction house and cancel scan and potentially try to score stuff cheap enough to do way too slow. Potentially score some stuff cheap enough to do, some shuffling. I kind of just feel like that's sadly where this character's at right now. Yeah, so with that, guys, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Sorry about today's video in advance, I guess. Not the best, I know. But hopefully tomorrow will be a little bit better, and we'll be able to discuss all the things that I'm going to work on in the future on my main server and otherwise. So with that, thanks for watching. Like, comment, subscribe, and I will see you tomorrow.